So had a decent start to the week, was waiting to see how the market reacts at the open, and we just kind of sold off. So a lot of my long plays didn't end up working out. So let's talk about the first trade on the day, which is a short trade, HOTH. So this one, I was trying to be very cautious on this because, yes, there's a lot of dilution in the filings. Yes, it's probably a piece of company, but the thing is, it's easy to borrow. There's shares to short everywhere that I've seen, so I'm trying to be very careful and only want to short start an entry on the pops and seeing that how it rejects really fast, and that's where it gave me the confidence to start scaling in, adding into all the pushes above VWAP, and once VWAP breaks down, I'm just covering. And as you can see, I was covered way too soon, but I want to stay safe. After all, it's an easy to borrow name. It's also a low float, but also the volume was extremely difficult to add and scale out. So that's why I feel like I took the meat of the move, covering into all the dips and didn't want to outstay my welcome. And because there's been so many instances in the past, such as OPGN from maybe a week ago, that we've seen the stock, a low float, consolidate beneath VWAP for an extended amount of time, and all of a sudden there's a volume surge out of nowhere, and the stock just squeezed from $5 all the way to $7 within 5 seconds. So I'm just trying to protect myself from any shenanigans like that. Take the meat of the move and move on. So that's the first trade on the day. The second trade on the day I had a lot more hope for was APRN. So per my morning trading plan, I want to see the stock start to consolidate around $12, and once we start holding, I think we had a move towards $13 first and then $13.50s, and if we really squeeze, we could potentially see $14. But volume disappeared right after this push. As you can see, I sold some here. I was trying to hold for $13.50, and I think the top was literally $13.39, and I didn't sell because I was looking for way more. So I had a stop set in stone. Remember, this is a low float stock. When they pull the bids, the stock can drop from $13 all the way to $12 really fast, actually $11.80. BMRA. So this one was one I was shorting last week. I forgot if it was, I think it's on this day, I was shorting this. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing. Shorting around the $10 resistance level on this volume push. Again, the stock is on SSR. So it's hard to fill on the short side. You have to short on the breakout, basically on the ask, right? Because you cannot slam the bid. Once the stock tops out around $10, it was extremely to get filled, adding to the short position. That's why I didn't get any good size or any good average on that. So ended up being just a scalp for me. Covered some 940s, added $9, and then covering the rest around 860s. I had no interest of trying to outstay my welcome. The stock is technically it's a rebound day, and the volume was pretty decent. So that's why it ended up being a scalp. But of course, it faded down a lot longer. But I can only take the meat of the move and move on. So a couple of good trades and one bad trade on the day. So let's talk about the one I messed up first. So Zoom, this is one of those stocks that's been kind of going straight up from 110 to, I guess, 165 at the highs for about a week now and never pull back. So today, when it started gapping down pre-market, even though SPY gapped up overnight, I realized this could be the day that it turns around. I had the plan to go long on the bounce on this morning dip towards a key level. But at the same time, I also wanted to short it if we can rebound back to the previous day close. But when it all happened so fast, I only caught the long side and not even that good of a trade. You can see I took an entry here, sold some, and I wanted to add here because I was thinking once we reclaim this level, we can push to previous day close, and that would be a good entry to start scaling in short. Didn't get it. So at the end, I gave back entire of my gains from this entry. So basically ended up being a break-even trade. And I should have been more reactive and just flip short. With a stock that's been going parabolic like this on the daily, I'm scared to short the weakness. So that's why, I kept on waiting for a bounce at least to the previous day close area. But we just never got it. So ended up being, the long trade didn't make anything, and I should have just flipped short. But of course, hindsight is 2020. The other trade I did a lot better on is ROKU And this one, I was able to go long and then short, go short and then long. So SPY, the market was kind of indecisive this morning. At one point, it looked like it was about to sell off the gap. That's why I started in short here on Roku. After seeing that we were extremely heavy, shorted $94, covered some into 93, but I was looking for a lot more. And that's why I added here. I was thinking we can potentially fill the gap to $90. But at the time, SPY was, the overall market was rebounding. So we started to hold the lows and we didn't crack any further. And that's why I covered all my short and I flipped long. And in hindsight, I should have added bigger into the long. The market was a little already choppy in the opening, I guess the first 15 minutes. That's why I hesitated and didn't add here. In hindsight, this would have been a good entry to add, but I didn't add until all the way here and here. And I sold some here. I know this was a nice push, but I had my eyes on 105. That's why I held. I think that's also what I did yesterday. I held on to it. Once I held on, set a stop, and I got stopped out around here. Pretty good trade. I'm happy about my ability to flip short and long, just using the levels here. But, wish I caught more of the meat and added in bigger instead of up here on Roku. The other trade that was pretty good was NVAX. So this one I went short. So they had some FDA news gapping up, but the thing is, it's not the vaccine or the hype overall over here on the daily was all about the potential COVID-19 vaccine, whatever drug they were developing. But this FDA approval wasn't that exact vaccine that everyone was waiting for. So yes, we did gap up, but you don't have that same hype that everyone's waiting for, right? They're waiting for the keyword coronavirus or the vaccine. So that's not the drug everyone's looking for. So after we reject this key level around 1430s, that's where I scaled in short, started in some and added in bigger, and wish I added here, but of course I didn't, and covering into the flush here. And once I covered here, it just keeps on cracking down to $12. So would have, could have, should have. So, but I feel like I took the meat of the move and, I wasn't afraid to add, but just couldn't hold on as long as I should have. Last trade was a scalp trade, just one entry and scaled out along the way. CCL, this one has been one that, I always keep on watch the last couple of days because when it squeezes, it likes to go parabolic. So that's why I like to trade these kind of momentum stocks with volume, breaking above the key level, and we're going to squeeze. So, but also when it goes parabolic up, I want to make sure I set my stops on my final piece because when it pulls hard, right? You can see when it pulls from $16, it literally just, no bounce whatsoever, just straight up gave back everything back to $14. So that's over $1.50 of a pullback. So I don't want to get caught in that, and that's why I always set my stop. So let's start with the loser on the day as usual. So Nike is this one is the one that I messed up on. And a lot of slippage and, also slow execution on my part. I got long. I was long biased on the stock. I got long here, scaled out some more and added in even bigger. They had really good earnings, good beat on revenue and earnings per share. So I was overall bullish on the stock and it did eventually, work and break out. But I just got chopped up here. And you can see this wick right here stopped me out, literally at that bottom. And I went back long a few times, but the momentum just really wasn't that clean. And the breakout, you can see, we just kind of, whipsawed up and down for a couple of times. And that's why, I decided that I didn't want to get chopped up in this again, which, you can see we skipped down again right here. So I didn't want to get caught in that. So overall, it's a long trade, and it's a loss on this trade. The other ones that I did a lot better on are the other travel stocks and airline stocks. The penny stock play on the day was HAPP short. If you look at the daily chart for the stock, a lot of wicks, it never held its gains. So that's why I was overall bearish on the stock as long as we hold below $4. I started some pre-market, small size, giving me lots of room to add, seeing how it reacts at the open. And it literally starts dumping right at the open and breaking down the $4 mark. And that's where I started scaling back in, added in here And then, the liquidity literally just died right at the open. Even though we had around 400,000 shares traded pre-market, right after the open, everyone just kind of forgot about the stock. And it's hard to get out and to add back in as well. So that's why I didn't really have a good size on this. And, I covered down here, and stopped out the rest. And of course, I didn't catch the bottom. But I do feel like just like the short on NVAX yesterday, I took the meat of the move and I want to avoid any headaches. So the other travel sector stocks I played, NCLH, this is a cruise line. So the entire travel sector gapped up overnight and, was pretty strong today because of the potential bailout and the signing of the bill. So, but this stock I was short first and then started loaning here. I was short here, seeing that we got halted down and the market was overall pulling back at the open. So that's why I scaled in short and over here as well, adding some bigger, and we got halted down and I covered everything after the unhold because there's a support level right here. And I went back and tried to start building a long position. And you can see it kind of got chopped up here because this one also likes to skip up and whipsaw back and down. So I got chopped up a little bit, but I had a pretty nice small position down here and added over here over VWAP, seeing that we're starting to squeeze and sold too soon as usual. But I was really happy with my patience on this one because I was able to get in long, small size and only added bigger after volume and the breakout confirms and selling into the push. Very similar trade on CCL as well. You can see here, long here, very exactly the same setup as NCLH. The biggest winner was the BA long. I caught some shorts just to scalp, but seeing that we were reclaiming the bottom range, that's why I scaled in long. I wish, I was able to hold onto this and sell into 174, 175s. We're still working on my patience issues, but I'm doing a lot better and adding into my winners now. But I was trying to build a swing overnight position and there was bad news and market was pulling near the end of the day. So that's why I stopped out of my swing position, and at the end ended up working out well, but I have to protect my downside. I didn't want to give back my gains from the day trade just because I wanted to swing the stock overnight. So another volatile day, and SPY was just ripping 20 points to the upside. I wasn't sure about the direction coming in pre-market. You can see we gapped up down overnight and then we just started ripping pre-market after the jobless claims number came out. 3 million jobless new cases versus 1 million expected. You would expect the market to react bearish, but no, instead we ripped to the upside. So let's talk about the trades on the day. So Uber was the loser on the day for me. I went short bias overall on the stock, gapped down overnight with the entire market, and then went red to green with SPY at the market opens. So I was shorting into the spike here, covered some. I was looking for more to the downside, but with the market so strong, it just ripped to new high. So I covered the rest of it here. So good thing I paid myself some, but overall it's a loss on the short side. So the second stock on the day for me is Bowen. This was a stock I was playing yesterday, both long and short. Today it's the same scenario. I loaned some at the breakout, but I was feeling that was too much of a move from 170 all the way to 180, too much, too quick. So that's why I scaled in short. Shorted here, and covered into the dip right here. You can see 168. That also matches with the pre-market levels and after hours level right here. So I just want to make sure I cover on the way down because I didn't expect it to keep on dumping all the way to red to green unless market really stays heavy. So covered some and then stopped out on the rest of the shorts and then actually went long. Went long because the volume was extremely strong. Market was ripping to the upside and Bowen is reclaiming VWAP. I was trying to build a position here, and that's the beauty with a large cap stock such as Bowen. You can, put in small sizes. It's a $175 stock. You want to build your position slowly and then trim some to protect my downside. And that's why my thesis. I slowly added in and trimmed some when it failed VWAP once just to protect myself in case I was wrong. I don't want to be wrong too big, and added back and slowly added back and trimming on the way up slowly as we start to grind up. So keeping my core size long and trimming as I see fit as the price action tells me. And so I'm always taking some small profit on the way up, but I want to make sure I have a good size if, we do break out to the upside, which we did. But the thing is, I was expecting a much bigger move. So I sold some here and I missed the sell up here around 186 because I was thinking we have more room to go to 188. I trimmed the rest of the position here just because the consolidation time was taking a little bit too long. I was looking for more of a breakout, breaking about 186 and going to 188. But when that took a little bit too much time, I finally got out. I still got a nice chunk on the long size, but definitely, missed this sell up here around 186. And that's why I love this market so much. You can have a short on and a flip long and still be able to make profit, taking advantage of the volatility. So the next stock on the day is CCL. So this is another one of those stocks that you see me play again and again because of all the amazing range we have. And I went long here and I shorted near the end of the day. Went long, this stock likes to squeeze parabolic, so I want to be there when it does squeeze. So, long some from 1750s and selling to the push 18 and the 1870s. And in the late day, I was thinking we can potentially break down because of some bad news coming out regarding the cruise line stocks. So I started scaling in. Again, I'm more conservative on the short side. I'm not as aggressive as the long side like here and here. Short side, I want to scale in slowly, building a position and covered some here. And, I was looking for a lot more to the downside. I was thinking we can flush all the way down because of all the other stocks in the same sector was selling off over 50% of the gains on the day. So that's what I was looking for Carnival Cruise Lines. The short side was decent, but definitely could have maximized a lot more. But I know my weakness. I know my strength is mostly on the long side. So when I'm shorting, I'm more conservative and taking profit a lot quicker. The other stock that's CODX, it's a scratch trade really. There's no volume whatsoever, no spikes to short into. Started some shorts here, and covered a majority right here previous day close, and seeing that we're not breaking down any further, I just covered. So overall, CODX is a small win on the day. The other small loss on the day is JNUG. This one I never got any size on because yes, we did have a breakout pre-market with the gold futures, but there's no follow through once market opens. I longed some small, selling to the push pre-market, was trying to build another position on the long side, but got chopped up and gave back some of the profit from pre-market. But overall, the position was really small with JNUG just because, we haven't had a really big confirmed breakout with gold yet. So yeah, another day where I traded many tickers, both on the long side and short side. I'm still loving the volatility and hope we see more of this tomorrow and next week.